What is a secret?
Yeah, so I define secrecy, and in the definition turns out to be important. Uh, I define secrecy as the intent to withhold information from one or more people. And the reason why we need to define secrecy that way is, there are plenty of secrets that you might keep that you just never have to actually conceal in conversation. They just don't come up in conversation. People don't go around asking you, have you ever cheated on your partner? Were you ever abused as a child? Have you had an abortion? These aren't topics we typically encounter. And so there might be a bunch of secrets that come to mind sometimes, but that you don't have to actively work to keep.
Hmm.
And it turns out that for most of our secrets, we can think about them quite a lot, but we don't have to hide them very often. And so we don't want to define secrecy as an action because that's a really small slice of the overall experience of secrecy. We only sometimes hide our secrets in conversation. And most importantly, our secrets exist before those conversations and our secrets exist after those conversations. They don't just disappear after you've successfully hit it, right? And so the moment you intend to hold information back from someone, that's the moment you have a secret.
Hmm.
Imagine someone is traveling for work and they cheat on their partner. They've never done it before. They'll never do it again. But that moment they decide, oh, I can't tell this to my partner, it would destroy our relationship. That's the moment they have a secret, even before they have the sort of opportunity to hide it.
Got it. So a more benign example might be you're supposed to be doing something at work and you're actually out running errands and your boss calls and you step somewhere where they can't hear the announcer at Target and you conceal the fact that you're not anywhere near your desk. That is
Mhm.
another example of a secret. Do you have to
Yeah.
feel bad?
Nope.
It's just
Nope.
the intent to not disclose something.
Exactly.
So are secrets good or bad? I mean, are there some good secrets?
Yes, there are some good secrets. And whether secrets are good, it's going to depend. The sort of standard psychologist answer. You know, keeping a secret can protect a relationship and that can feel good or be good, but it can also be burdensome at the same time. Um, and then, sometimes people keep secrets about good things. We can talk about that, but that's a much rarer form of secrecy. It certainly happens all the time, but it's sort of eclipsed by all the negative secrets we keep.
Right. It doesn't bother you to keep the fact that you're planning a surprise birthday party for somebody,
That's
but
right.
it does eat away with you that you got caught at Target shopping when you should have been working,
Mhm.
or some of the bigger ones that we'll get into. Is keeping a secret something that is innate in all human beings, or is it something that we learn to do?
I, Another psychologist answer, it's both. There's some evidence to suggest that we're not the only beings on the planet who keep secrets. There's some really fascinating studies on chimpanzees, and they seem able to keep secrets too. Not as complex as ours, but it looks a lot like secrecy, the things they're able to do. And children start to keep secrets as soon as they figure out how to, as soon as they understand that the things that are inside their head are not necessarily in another person's head unless they
Hmm.
tell them. They start understanding that people have these mental worlds that are unknown until discovered or unknown until shared. And as soon as they figure that out, they realize, like, oh, maybe I can not get in trouble for this spill if I can hide it.
Mm.
And so it seems to be a pretty natural way of interacting with people around us, or choosing not to.
So let's talk about the hardest part of keeping a secret. What can you like? Maybe let's use your family secret.
Yeah. So it turns out that what's hard about having a secret is not that we have to hide it, it's that we have to live with it alone in our thoughts.
Mm.
And so for my family's secret, it wasn't a secret that they have to that they had to hide very often. You know, it wasn't something that they had to frequently hold back from us in conversation. And that didn't mean the secret didn't exist, though, because sometimes they would think about the secret. You know, they might think about the secret after that conversation. It might sort of linger in their thoughts, and that turns out to be where the harms are. Where the whole point of having a secret is you hide it when necessary, and so when those moments come, even if they feel awkward, you're pretty prepared for those moments, and because people can't literally read your thoughts, it's something you can do with relative success and ease. You just don't say the thing that you're not supposed to say, but you have all the time in the world to reflect back on the secret and wonder whether you're making the right choice. And then maybe you start doubting yourself, or maybe you start feeling bad for keeping the secret. These are things you don't have the time or bandwidth to think about in the moment when you're holding it back in conversation. But at all the other moments, your mind can go to these places that are harmful or that make the secrecy difficult.
You know what I find so fascinating is that you're basically saying that concealing it's the easy part. Living with it is the really damaging part. And when I think about secrets that I had, you know, in my past, for example, the weight of that was crushing. Hiding the fact, and I'm thinking specifically about cheating on boyfriends when I was in my 20s. And holding the secret, managing the information, feeling like an asshole. I still to this day regret and think about the things that I did when I was very self-destructive when I was younger that I kept secret for a long time. And how liberating it is to be able to talk about these things. And I know that for me personally, and I would imagine this is true for your parents or anybody that has a secret, you're so focused on the other people in your life and how they will judge you or react that I think we tip the scales toward protecting other people. And we don't realize, and this is what your research bears, we don't realize how profoundly secrets negatively impact you. Have you discovered in your research, like if there's a physical, mental, emotional cost to this?
Yes. So we can see in the research that, you know, there are so many reasons why, unfortunately, there are so many reasons why just having to live with a secret in your thoughts can be harmful. You know, if there's something really big going on, or something that's upsetting, or some struggle you're working through, and you're choosing to be entirely alone with it, you're just not going to develop the healthiest way of thinking about it. You know, healthy perspectives, those those come from chatting about these things with other people. Getting other people's perspectives can kind of curb our overly negative view of things. And you know, those overly negative views don't get tempered when we just hold back from everyone. And then you might feel feelings of shame when a secret comes to mind. You might feel really isolated with a secret. You might feel really inauthentic for keeping it. You might feel at a loss for what to do. And what do you do with those feelings? You just have to revisit them every time the secret comes to mind if you're not going to find a way forward.
Well, it's very clear in the listening to the way that you describe this that the secrets that you keep you disconnected from yourself. Because by shoving it down, managing information, feeling the shame and isolation and uncertainty that comes with holding, again, this physical language that we use, you're holding this secret solo, that you are eroding this trust with yourself to just own your life experience. And I mentioned that we had put a call out on Instagram. We have over 5 million followers, and the secrets poured in. And as I read some of these, I want you listening to just feel the weight of what it must be like for this person to live with this. And if there's anything that, you want to weigh in. I'll pause briefly, Michael, between each one as I read what our listeners are saying. These are secrets that they have right now. Here's the first one. I struggle with compulsion, whether it's finances, shopping, purchases, binge eating. I'm desperately unhappy in my marriage, but I'm too scared to make the break. I would imagine that's one you see a lot.
Mhm.
We saw that one over and over.
Yeah, yeah. Romantic discontent is our label for that one.
And you think you're the only one.
Yeah.
My husband and I are struggling financially. I've never been satisfied in the bedroom with my partner, and I love them anyway. I've fallen in love with somebody that isn't my husband. Nothing has happened, but still, I feel so ashamed. I'm keeping a secret from my partner that I took out a high interest loan. I had an affair with an employee, and it gave me so much anxiety in the end, I had to move. I didn't graduate from high school. Everyone I know thinks I'm thriving post-divorce, and I'm worse off than I've ever been. What are your thoughts about these?
Yeah, so, they all jumped out at me in sort of their individual ways. When I think about the relationship ones, which is a huge theme that we'll see in the secrets that people keep. Think about the person who is not thriving after their divorce and they're just holding that information back. That's someone who really, really would benefit from others' help. And it's not because we're helpless, it's because other people just have so much to offer that it's really hard to find on our own. You know, someone could just hear you out, someone can just listen to you, someone can just validate your experience. Like that's I'm so sorry you're going through that. Just sympathy, empathy. Uh, these sort of little morsels that we get from talking about these things are really helpful. It's just really hard to struggle with something alone, and bringing anybody, most people into the conversation can help so much. Another one, again, on the theme of relationships, the person who said that they're in love with someone else, someone who's not their husband, they haven't done anything about, they haven't, done any wrong actions. This is a common theme we see too, where people will feel a thought they've had or a feeling they have is a secret that they hold, even though they haven't done anything wrong. It just goes to show you how weighty a secret can be when we're just talking about a collection of thoughts or a collection of feelings, not even an action, but even just a few thoughts or a few feelings we have, that those can feel like a weighty secret on their own.
The other one that popped out at me is I didn't graduate from high school. And
Yeah.
the reason why that struck me is that if you keep that a secret, it means you feel ashamed. And the secret keeping makes the fact that you didn't graduate from high school somehow a problem. Like you think there's something wrong with it. And so keeping it a secret makes it an even bigger issue in your life. When most people, if you tell them that, won't give a shit
Yeah.
and will probably acknowledge you for how you're successful and, you've done a great job without it, and see it as something that is almost like a thing to be proud of.
Yeah. I think when these things can seem so much bigger, loom so much larger in our heads, and we putting them out in the world is never as bad as we think it's going to be.
What kind of secrets, based on your research, are the top secrets that people keep?
So that was one of the first things to look into, this idea of, if we want to learn anything about secrecy, we should look at people's real life experiences. We should study people's real secrets, because studying sort of made up secrets in the laboratory, it just might not tell us anything about real world secrecy. And so we've asked a couple thousand people, what's the secret you're keeping right now? And so from the couple thousand people who told us about our secrets, we developed this list of 38 categories of secrets. And we know this list turns out to be really comprehensive because now we've given this list of secrets to 50,000 people. And on average, people at any given time point have 13 of these 38 categories of secrets. And so in some ways, that's an undercount because you might have multiple secrets that fit a given category. And in some ways, it's an overcount because some of these are secrets you haven't thought about in a long time. But the important point here is that it only takes a single sheet of paper for me to tell you the whole universe of secrets that people tend to keep. So on average, the person will at any given moment have 13 secrets from that list of 38. We see 97% of people say they have at least one of those secrets right now. When we ask someone open-ended, what's the secret you're keeping? 92% of the time, it fits one of the items on the list. So we can, on a single page of paper, we can really cover well the universe of secrets that people keep and what they are.
Can you give us the top 10 big categories?
Yeah, so the most common secret is having told a significant lie. You can lie to keep a secret. You can also not lie to keep a secret. Someone can ask you something and you can honestly say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that." So lying is a way to keep a secret. It's not the only way to keep a secret. There's lots of other ways to keep a secret that we'll talk about. And then a lie itself can be a secret uh, because of some significant untruth we've told, and we don't want that to be learned by other people. Um, After that number one lying, number two is romantic desire. Then it goes finances, sexual behavior. One really interesting one that we call extra relational thoughts. You're in some kind of romantic relationship with one person and you're having some kind of romantic thought about another person. That's something people don't talk about. Family secrets are very common, secret ambitions, discontent with your social life or physical discontent. The list goes on, mental health, violations of trust, and so on.
So you have a secret and you're feeling that it is a huge burden and it's time to relieve yourself of that burden. You're a good person. You need to talk to somebody. Is finding somebody to confide in the first thing you should do?
Almost always, especially if finding the right person, yes. If you can find the right person to talk to, you're in a really good place. And there's a lot of people who are the right people to talk to, because yes, a situation like this, talking to someone is going to be really helpful. And so, the idea of the coping compass is essentially you're trying to point yourself to the resource that's most available to you.
Okay.
Now, in this context, I would say that, actually you have someone you can talk to. Maybe a really natural person to talk to is the person who told you this secret, and you say, "Hey, I'm having a lot of trouble with this. I'd like to talk about it with you." This person is uniquely available to you to talk about this, given the nature of this example. And it's easy to forget that you have this person who knows who just knows the whole story, and you can talk about it with them and just understand like where they headed with this because you're finding it hard. And there's a lesson we need to come back to, which is choose your person carefully when it comes time to choose a person to talk about your secret with, because what you want to avoid as much as you can is putting a burden on someone else. And so if you say cheated on your partner and you're just trying to figure out what to do with this, talking to their best friend, it's not your best option. It's maybe one of your worst options, because now you're putting this person in a really difficult position. And so you want to be careful about who you choose to talk to because you don't want to be just taking the burden off you and placing it on them. Someone outside of the situation is someone to talk to. And you could also talk to a third party about it as well, and just say, "Hey, I'm finding what would you do in this situation? How can I work through it?"
Here's how I think about it. I love the word coping compass because even just in your and my conversation, I think that anybody listening to the two of us, you probably have discerned that I would put Michael in the compassionate and caring camp, and I would put me in the assertive camp. And so if your compass is telling you, I got to talk to somebody, and I just need somebody who's going to listen and be compassionate, you would likely go to Michael. If this is eating you alive and you're like, I got to talk to somebody and I need a solution here. I gotta absorb some courage. You would go to the assertive person who's going to go, are you out of your fucking mind? You either need to end this or tell your partner. You clearly need to go to therapy, but this is killing you. And you told me because you knew I would say that to you. But you got 2 weeks to figure this out, or else I'm telling your spouse, because I'm not like, so I think that advice, Michael, choose the person that is your coping compass wisely, because it matters. And the second thing that you said that I think is really important is when you're choosing to remember, you may be doing a bad thing, or you may be embarrassed by this thing that you need to work through, but you're not a bad person. The simple fact that you want to tell somebody indicates that you want to relieve yourself of this, that you know that you don't deserve to live under the weight of this secret. And so I love the fact that in every situation, finding somebody to talk to, whether it is a compassionate or it's an assertive friend or it's a therapist, that's the number one thing, because what that does, Michael, is it seems like it would honor the fact that you deserve to feel better in your life and that you're ready to relieve yourself of the pain that holding a secret has caused you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's essentially two broad forms of social support, and one is what we'd call emotional support. Do you just want someone to hear you out? Do you want just someone to say, like, that sucks, I'm here for you? Or do you need to do something? Do you actually have to you have to take some action? And that's when you're looking for the assertive person, the person you know is going to push you to do the thing that you need to do. And so that's what we're thinking about when we're like, what do I need here to be in a better place? And other people are these sort of bounties of support. And, you choose your person carefully. There's a study that I really like. It's not about secrecy. It's about, people read these stories about other people. And in these stories, one version of the story is someone's done bad things in their past and now they're doing good things. And then in the other version of the story, it's like people have done good things now or in the past, and now they're doing bad things today. And essentially what the study showed was most people at the end of the day believe that most people deep down are good, and sort of their arc bends toward goodness.
I believe that with my whole heart. Prepare yourself, because right now, you and I are going to discuss something that we've never spoken about. The topic, secrets. We all have secrets. I want to help you free yourself of the burden of carrying your secrets and your family's secrets.